On July 26, 1952, Eva Peron died. She was 33 years old. Within hours, Argentina stopped. Factories fell silent. Shops closed. Grown men wept in the streets of Buenos Aires. Over the next 2 weeks, more than 3 million people lined up to see her body. 8 were crushed to death in the crowds. 1,600 were hospitalized. Eva Peron wasn't just the first lady of Argentina. To the poor, she was a saint. To the working class, she was a goddess. And to the powerful men who opposed her husband's government, she was a threat that refused to die. What happened next became one of the strangest stories in modern history. For 20 years, her body would vanish, hidden in attics, locked in military offices, shipped across the ocean under a fake name, buried in a stranger's grave in Italy, kept in a dictator's dining room, damaged in ways that suggested abuse. And when it was finally recovered, what they found proved that even in death, Eva Peron was never left in peace. This is the story of what they did to Evita. Eva was born in 1919 in a small village in the Argentine Pampas. She was the youngest of 5 illegitimate children. Her father abandoned the family when she was 1 year old. They lived in a single room with almost nothing. At 15, she left for Buenos Aires with a dream of becoming an actress. No money, no connections, no education, just ambition that burned hotter than anyone around her could understand. By her mid-20s, she had clawed her way into radio and film. Then, in 1944, she met Colonel Juan Perón at a charity event. He was 48. She was 24. Within a year, they were married. Within 2, he was president of Argentina. And Eva, now called Evita, became the most powerful woman in South America. She gave speeches to crowds of hundreds of thousands. She built hospitals, schools, and housing for the poor. Workers called her the Lady of Hope, the shirtless ones, the forgotten ones. She was their voice. But to the wealthy elite, to the military, to the old families who had ruled Argentina for generations, she was dangerous. A former actress, a woman of no breeding, a threat to everything they controlled. When she was diagnosed with cervical cancer in 1950, she refused to stop. She gave speeches from a wheelchair. She appeared at rallies so weak she had to be held upright by her husband. On her final public appearance, a metal frame was hidden beneath her fur coat to keep her standing. She weighed 79 pounds when she died. The grief that followed was unlike anything Argentina had ever seen. President Juan Perón declared a national mourning period that lasted nearly a month. Flags were lowered for 10 days. Radio stations played nothing but funeral music. And then Juan made a decision that would haunt everyone involved for the next 2 decades. He would preserve her forever. He hired a Spanish doctor named Pedro Ara, one of the world's leading embalmers. Ara had preserved the bodies of artists and politicians across Europe, but he had never attempted anything like this. Juan Perón didn't want his wife buried. He wanted her displayed, visible, immortal. Dr. Ara worked on Eva's body for nearly a year. He replaced her blood with glycerin. He treated her organs with chemicals and coated them in wax. He injected preservatives into every inch of tissue. When he finished, Eva Peron looked like she was sleeping. Her skin was soft. Her features were perfect. Her body would never decay. Juan announced plans to build a monument in her honor. It would be taller than the Statue of Liberty. Eva's preserved body would be displayed at the top, visible to all of Buenos Aires, a permanent shrine to the woman they called the spiritual leader of the nation. The monument was never built. In September 1955, a military coup overthrew Juan Perón. Tanks rolled through Buenos Aires. Bombs fell on the Plaza de Mayo. Within days, Perón fled on a Paraguayan gunboat into an exile that would last 18 years. He left behind almost everything: his power, his presidency, and his wife's body. The new military government faced a problem. Eva Peron was dead, but she was still dangerous. Her body had become a symbol, a rallying point. As long as it existed, the Peronist movement would never die. They couldn't bury her publicly. That would create a shrine. They couldn't destroy her. That would create a martyr. So they made her disappear. For 3 years, Eva's body was moved in secret across Buenos Aires, hidden in military buildings, stored in the backs of trucks, kept in an intelligence officer's attic. One officer kept her behind a movie screen in his office. He worked at his desk all day, just feet from her coffin. The secrecy drove some of them mad. One officer's wife reportedly suffered a mental breakdown after learning the most famous corpse in Argentina was in their home. Another officer became so paranoid about protecting the body that he shot a pregnant woman who approached his car one night, convinced she was a Peronist spy. The military couldn't keep the secret forever. Rumors spread. Peronist supporters searched constantly. The pressure was building. In 1957, they made a decision. They would send her far away, somewhere no one would ever look. Colonel Hector Cabanillas was given the mission. He drove the coffin to the Buenos Aires waterfront. A shipping crate was waiting. Inside was another coffin, and inside that was Eva Perón, now traveling under a new identity. Her name was Maria Maggi de Magistris. Her passport said she was born in Italy. Her death certificate said she died visiting relatives in Argentina. Every document was forged. The crate was loaded onto a ship bound for Genoa. When it arrived in Italy, a man named Carlo Maggi, playing the role of the dead woman's brother, claimed the body and arranged burial. Eva Peron was laid to rest in Lot 86 of the Musacco Cemetery in Milan. The headstone read, Maria Maggi, no dates, no details, just a name that meant nothing to anyone. For 14 years, the most famous woman in Argentina lay in an unmarked grave in a foreign country. Millions searched. Her husband offered rewards. Journalists investigated. Conspiracy theories spread. No one found her. Juan Perón waited in exile, Paraguay, Panama, Venezuela, the Dominican Republic. Finally, Spain, where dictator Francisco Franco gave him refuge. He never stopped searching for his wife's body. He sent agents, he bribed officials, he followed every lead. For 14 years, nothing. Then, in 1971, the Argentine military changed its mind. A new president named Alejandro Lanusse decided that returning Eva's body might stabilize the country. The Peronist movement was growing again. Perhaps giving them Evita would quiet the unrest. The location was finally revealed. On September 2, 1971, Eva Peron was exhumed from Lot 86 in Milan. When they opened the coffin, the embalming had held. After 19 years underground, she still looked almost alive. Her features were intact, her hair was in place. Dr. Pedro Ara's work had succeeded beyond anything anyone expected, but her body was not undamaged. One finger was broken, her nose showed signs of being crushed. There were cuts on her face and neck, her feet were bent at unnatural angles. Something had happened during those years in military custody. The damage was too specific to be accidental. No one was ever charged, no one ever admitted what they did. But the evidence was written on her body. The coffin was flown to Madrid. Juan Perón was now 76, living in a villa with his third wife, Isabel. When Eva's coffin arrived, he had it placed in his home, not in a vault, not in a crypt, in his dining room. For 2 years, the coffin sat there. Visitors ate dinner feet away from Eva's body. Isabel reportedly brushed Eva's hair every day. Juan would sit beside the coffin and talk to his dead wife as if she could hear him. In June 1973, Juan Perón returned to Argentina. He won the election that September. At 78, he was president again, but his health was failing. Less than a year later, on July 1st, 1974, he died. His wife Isabel became president, and she made a decision no one in Argentina had been willing to make for 22 years. She brought Evita home. In November 1974, Eva Perón's body was flown back to Buenos Aires. A state funeral was held. Crowds filled the streets. The woman who had been hidden, stolen, and abused was finally home. But the government knew the danger. As long as her body could be moved, it could be stolen. As long as it could be stolen, it would remain a weapon. So they buried her in a way that no one would ever reach her again. Her coffin was placed in the Duarte family crypt at La Recoleta Cemetery. But beneath the marble, workers built something more. A steel vault, a trapdoor with a special key, multiple layers of concrete, 3 steel plates, each weighing hundreds of pounds. Her body now rests 8 meters underground. The vault is designed to withstand bombing. Officials estimate it would take a demolition crew working continuously for 3 days to reach her. Eva Peron spent 20 years above ground, passed between soldiers, hidden in attics, shipped across oceans, buried under a false name. In death, she was never allowed to rest. Now, she rests in a fortress. Today, millions of tourists visit La Recoleta Cemetery every year. They walk the narrow paths between marble mausoleums. They search for one name, Evita. They leave flowers, notes, prayers. They stand in silence before a small black door that reads, Familia Duarte. Behind that door, beneath layers of steel and stone, lies the woman they worshipped and the woman they feared. The actress from a village in the Pampas, the first lady who shook Argentina, the corpse that 3 governments tried to control. She was hidden for 20 years. She was damaged in ways no one will explain. And now, finally, no one will ever move her again.